Thousands have gathered in central Pyongyang as the memorial service for Kim Jong Il continues. I'm Deborah. You're watching Asia Today. I'm joined by Evan Ramstad, reporter for the Wall Street Journal based in Seoul. Okay, Evan, you've covered North Korea for a while now. We're seeing the pictures of the tears. Are they real or are they alligator tears? And as some people speculate, is the population being brainwashed?
Well, it's hard to say whether they're brainwashed as much as they do watch themselves. There is multiple layers of people monitoring other people, and they all live with the threat or the idea that if they don't behave or conform, they could go to prison, or even worse than a prison, a gulag, or a kind of a very harsh labor camp. So therefore, the pressure to conform, which exists in any society, exists in a much more extreme form there. So when people see that the acceptable form of behavior is to mourn the death of Kim Jong Il, for instance, then of course they're going to do it in a very extreme way, and that's what we've been seeing over the past week and a half or so. But on the other hand, I think we should also just be a little bit mindful of the overall context and the pressure that they all live under there.
Okay, so now that Kim Jong Un is taking up the helm, what should we look for in terms of which direction North Korea is going next?
I think one of the first things people will watch is this upcoming weekend when the annual New Year's statement comes out on the state media. This is kind of like North Korea's version of the State of the Union address that we have in the United States, or some other speeches that leaders in other countries have to make. Typically, that thing is poured over. It's a very long statement, and people will look now to see if there's any glimpse of something new there, something different than what we've seen during the Kim Jong Il days. It's really hard to sort of tee that up in any way. Other than that, people will then look to see if there's some kind of outreach by the North Korean government to any of the countries that it has been dealing with on the nuclear issue. China probably would be the first, but then, to the others, South Korea, Japan, Russia, and the U.S.
Well, on the flip side, of course, would be that North Korea uses the change of leadership to actually flex its muscles. So what are the chances that we will see more missiles being fired off?
I think it's hard to sort of gauge that or sort of put a percentage that it's 50% or 60% likely or something like that. There's a group of analysts who think that North Korea will do nothing now except for just hunker down and focus on itself and try to consolidate the power, in the internal structure of the regime. But then there are others who think that as part of that process, they will have to do something to lash out, because part of the story that they tell the North Korean public is that they are under threat all the time. And so by making a kind of a military show, they then tell the North Korean people they had to do that in order to, quote unquote, defend themselves or protect themselves from the threat that they perceive or that they create the perception of, for their people.
Okay, my thanks to Evan Ramstad, reporter for the Wall Street Journal based in Seoul. You're watching Asia Today. I'm Deborah.